Gucci keeps coming out with new fragrances in their gorgeous line. These are fragrances that are meant to evoke this sort of hippie chic magic that doesn't quite feel like me, but I'm intrigued by the idea. So I picked up a trio travel set along with trying a few other samples that I wanted to explore just a little bit further. I'm gonna give you my hot take on all of these fragrances, what I think is full bottle worthy and what's worth skipping. If that sounds like your kind of video, then stick around and let's get into it.
More of what I've been missing. We got time to act distant. You don't know what you're doing to me.
Hi, I'm Jeanique, and I love to talk about fragrances of all kinds, but especially florals. We're living in a time where florals are getting a little bit of heat, and if I can add a little bit of nuance to the conversation, what the florals out here are like, then I'm going to do just that. Now, I've tried a bunch of the fragrances in the Gucci Flora line. I have some travel fragrances here that I want to get into as well, comparing, contrasting, separating out the options that are out there, because even if you don't think you love florals, maybe you're curious about them and you want to try them anyway. But that's what we do over here. We talk fragrances all day, every day, with some branching off into lifestyle every now and then. So if that sounds like your kind of thing and you love a fun fragrance related video, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, hype it up. I would appreciate it. But today is all about Gucci, baby. And if there are specific brands you want me to get into, I'd be happy to. The Gucci Flora line was launched under Alessandro Michele, right? And his whole aesthetic branding vibe was very much giving this sort of almost granny chic in the sort of aesthetic he cultivated at the brand during his tenure from 2015 to 2022. And this fragrance launched near the end of that tenure. And I think the vibe of this line very much reflects that sort of granny chic sort of aesthetic that he was very much known for. That's no disrespect. I'm just saying that's the vibe that I got. And the original sort of jumping off point was this bad boy here, which is Gardenia, right? So this is Gucci Flora Gorgeous Gardenia, long ass name. We love her. And we got all of this sort of imagery around these fragrances from Miley Cyrus, outside, looking sunny, just looking part of nature, but really curated and pretty. As we love to see it, I will like pop up some of that imagery so you can get a sense of the universe we're stepping into and the kind of woman they're trying to appeal to. Because that's something you should always know, that for every brand that is out there, there is an audience in mind. There is a woman in mind that they are marketing to, and you will start to see threads with different brands as far as what they're good at. Not so much with niche brands, because I think they're targeting an audience that's looking to build collections and is looking for variety. But a lot of times with designer brands especially, they're trying to target specific women. And so they get very good at specific scent profiles. When we think about the Chloe woman, or we think about the Burberry woman, or the Mugler woman, or even the Jean-Paul Gaultier, they either lean into sort of more conservative smells, these rosy smells. They lean into sexy smells, something sweeter, something more daring. We get a sense of who they conceptualize their girl to be. I always joke that the Armani girl and the Valentino girl aren't that different. One's just wearing a leather jacket over that floral dress. Similar kind of vibe where one feels slightly more edgier, but not just really greatly distinct from one another. But the Gucci girl, to me, has always stepped apart from the lot. And it is because it reads, in my mind, like a summer of love kind of floral essence that is very hard to capture, but very specific in who it is targeting. So let's talk about that. So bold choice starting off with Gardenia, in my opinion, because the white florals, those heady white florals like tuberose and orange blossom, they're thick, they're creamy, they're heavy, they give some people a headache. They're unapologetically floral in how they read to us. and they sit on the body very heavy. There's something about them that feels a little mature in the scent profile, but you see from the marketing the girl isn't. It's for somebody who wants to embrace this sort of grown presence with this sort of kitschy essence as well, right? So what is in this fragrance? We start off with some sweeter mixed with some tart fruits. I think we have some bergamot in here, maybe some red berries. In the mid, we have that gorgeous gardenia, along with some other white florals, and we finish it off with some classics brown sugar. So a little bit of extra sweetness into the fragrance, along with, I think, some patchouli. I think that was a bold choice, but not a bold choice. Now, if you know, patchouli was big in the 60s and 70s. It became this sort of novel scent that a lot of people who embraced the hippie lifestyle in that era loved, right? There was a period where patchouli was associated with wealth and opulence about 100 years prior. But by the time we get to the 60s and 70s, patchouli is this sort of earthy smell that sort of represents or epitomizes that sort of summer of love sort of vibe. So am I surprised it is in here? I am not. I am not. Patchouli has a different essence in this age, but back then it very much had its own sort of presence. And I think it's interesting that they've chosen to include it, even if patchouli means something different today than it did in the 1960s and 70s, right? So I think this is the most classic of the bunch. We're going to get to Jasmine though. This is the most classic of the bunch in certain ways. It feels decidedly more romantic and grown up. It feels almost like cosplay in certain ways. It smells lovely, but it doesn't feel like it quite fits who it's meant for, but maybe that's the point. Now, Jasmine, I don't know if Jasmine is still available for sale, but if it is, let me just give you a little bit of a rundown on what Jasmine is giving. It gives a far more spa-like presence to the fragrance by ratcheting up the citrus and introducing more airy green white florals heading in the jasmine direction and away from those carnal white florals that are thick and creamy like gardenia. We still keep a lot of the same elements like that patchouli, although it feels a little bit dirtier in the jasmine version. I think the thing that sets it apart the most, in my opinion, is maybe this black pepper note that comes out of nowhere. I remember trying this for the first time and feeling like it was a little bit novel in terms of the composition. It felt very earthy. I love jasmine scents personally. I love white florals in general. I love white florals. I'm a white floral addict. I love them. But jasmine is pretty high up there for me. And this one was a fantastic take. And in my opinion, at least at that time, I felt like jasmine in a lot of ways was superior to gardenia. And even though jasmine has not stuck around as far as being popular with most people, I think it is a good representation of like an unapologetic sort of earthy white floral scent that has a good dose of citrus to make it feel fresh and bright and spa-y. And I think if you're looking for that sort of classic jasmine combination that just gets a little bit rough and tumble and a little bit dirty, then I think Gorgeous Flora, I don't know, Jasmine, that one, then I think it does a really good job of it. And I was a little disappointed when it just did not take off the way that I expected it to. Have you subscribed? You know you want to. What is the delay? Why stop your fun, my fun, both of our fun by being difficult? Just do the thing. Now let's get back to the video. Next, let's talk about Gorgeous Orchid. This might be the most popular of all of the fragrances in this line. I don't know what the rating or anything is, but I rarely hear people say bad things about this one. It is the most vanilla heavy of all of them, and it is the biggest departure from the line itself. You smell a floral essence in this fragrance. Like, it's hard to miss, but it feels like a barely there floral. It's Orchid, which is a phantom floral that barely smells like anything. It's more textural than anything else. We'll get to Magnolia, which does a lot of the same things, but different. What they've done in here for the most part is ratcheted up that vanilla, not to a level where you would think of it as a gourmand. They've kept it in balance with that Orchid. It's just a very delicate fragrance that doesn't feel particularly Flora, doesn't feel particularly gourmand. It's just sort of barely there sweetness on the body. And I can understand Why a lot of people enjoy this one. I think it's a good entry-level fragrance if you want to test out florals without committing to the floral sort of scent profile because you're not sure about it. Then I think this is a good way to play in that space without fully committing to those sort of experiences, especially because it's texturally light. It's sweet enough without going overboard, and the longevity on it isn't crazy. So if you don't love it, it'll go away pretty quickly, and it sits reasonably close to the skin. For me, the way I think about this fragrance is like, what's the point? It's not bad, but it isn't doing very much. And if you want your fragrances to do work, and I want my fragrances to do work, this ain't doing no work. It's just there next to me, being okay, I guess. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Now I say all of that, and I say that we could almost see it coming, the direction this line was going down, because Alessandro Michele left Gucci in 2022, and I feel like post his departure and there being a new creative director who may have a different vision for this line of fragrances without completely, I don't know, like abandoning the audience it initially attracted, you see a shift start to happen when Magnolia drops, which drops after Jasmine but before Orchid. Like that is the third in the line. So we still get this sort of centralization or the centering of a floral, Magnolia in this case, but we get a floral that's a floral but barely, right? It's not Jasmine, it's not Gardenia, it's not tuberose, it's not orange blossom, it's not lily of the valley, it's not any of those, it's not rose, it's not any of the florals that scream at you if you want them to. It's Magnolia. The most demure of the white florals, in my opinion. It's more textural than scent. It gives this sort of waxy texture on the skin. It gives this sort of essence of floralness. It's pretty, but it isn't imposing the way white florals can be. It is a polite white floral if I've ever seen one, right? It's nice. I like Magnolia. I like Magnolia with other things thrown in because Magnolia on its own is barely doing anything, whatever, but I like her, right? Most of the work in that floral, though, is coconut. And I think the combination of Magnolia and coconut together is a good-ass combination. They go well together because the waxiness of the Magnolia, the creaminess of the coconut, they come together and they just make sweet love to one another. And it is a beautiful combination. It feels thick, it feels creamy, it feels heavy. The coconut in here heads in the direction of almost suntan lotion coconut. It's not quite gourmand. So we don't get this gourmand floral. We still get something that feels spa. We're tipping over from Jasmine, you know, mind you. So we get something that's spa adjacent, something that feels a little bit outdoorsy, but nothing as just conventional, traditional as that Jasmine sort of composition that we got initially. And that made Magnolia for a time the most popular of the bunch. And I could see why. I think there's some vanilla for sweetness in there. There may be some fruit that adds a little bit of sweetness and tartness. It was a well-balanced, well-done fragrance that really sat subtly on the skin while making you smell just a little bit yummy. I really liked Magnolia. It wasn't full bottle worthy for me, but it was a pretty fragrance and I would have been happy and proud to wear. Now, the newest release in this line is Gardenia Intense. They've seemingly gone back to form. Have they gotten a new creative director who said, let's take it back to 2021, baby, and give these people more florals, not less? I appreciate it. Absolutely. Let me just put that out there. This one is fun time, right? So we still get that Gardenia, and this one has Hedion. So Hedion is basically Jasmine. It's like synthetic Jasmine. So we get Jasmine and Gardenia in this one, right? It's not quite as heavy as the original Gardenia, but we get that sort of Gardenia presence nonetheless. The Jasmine cuts through with some fresh spiness to make it not feel quite as heavy. But the sweetness in here, which I don't know what it's from, is ratcheted up. It feels like a warm sweetness that we would get from something like vanilla, praline. It even feels like there's a little bit of warm spice in here and a little bit of berry juice. I think the thing that stands out the most about Gardenia Intense is that it's not quite as polite as the others. The others played very nice. maybe too close to the skin for me. This one has a fair bit more personality because it is significantly louder. And for that reason, I just found this one to be significantly more exciting than I expected it to be. They've lifted the weight, they've given us a little bit more energy, and it makes me want to dance. And I think this is a really nice shift in this line of fragrances. Now, where would I like them to go next? Why haven't they given us yellow florals yet? That is my question. Can we get some ylang ylang? Can we get some frangipani? Maybe it's time we got some rose. I'm just saying, maybe it's time. Basically, I'll take anything. Because I do love florals and they do florals well. And I think it's interesting that I haven't fully embraced this line as many florals as they have put out. I have flirted with the idea, I've considered the idea, and I haven't committed to any of these Gucci fragrances till I picked up these specific travel scents. I'm going to continue to wear these down and continue to audition these to see which one, if any, becomes full bottle worthy. And maybe in the meantime, they'll drop a new one that I try, and maybe that's going to win me over. What's your favorite Gucci Flora fragrance? If you've tried any, has any really struck you? Has any been full bottle worthy, even if you haven't picked it up yet? I want to know which one you would get if you could get any. The Gucci woman came into full focus for me as I was testing these fragrances. As much as I could theorize about who the Gucci girl was based on their brand ambassador and a lot of the marketing campaigns I've been exposed to, trying these fragrances on my body over an extended period of time just made it even clearer who they were trying to appeal to with the kind of fragrances they had created. And I appreciate that kind of targeted sort of creation because it feels more intentional, feels more specific, and it feels like the Gucci girl can know that when something drops, she's probably going to like it, if not love it. And I think that's really special. I love when a brand feels that intentional. I had a similar kind of experience when I tried out Ellis Brooklyn fragrances about a year ago, feeling like they were trying to target either the clean girl aesthetic girlies or the cottage core girlies, whichever lane you went down. And this felt very similar. That made the experience all the more exciting for me because it felt like I was stepping into a world I didn't exactly belong to, but it was nice to look around. My big takeaway after looking around is that maybe I'm not a Gucci girl specifically, but maybe this Gucci fragrance, Gardenia Intense, could be for me if I continue to play with it and continue to fall in love with it. And that's the fun of fragrances, never ruling things out, but ruling things in if, you know, they strike you in some interesting and fun way. I hope you enjoyed this video, my take on Gucci Flora, my sort of insights as far as I could take them, and maybe I'll come back for more comparison videos in the future. Again, I'm Jeanique, out here exploring fragrances because that's half the fun of trying, loving, and being obsessed with perfume. And as I learn more, I'll bring you the tea because maybe we can talk about it sometime. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.
You like man grabbing the blunt, not too much down on the bus. Boy, humble, so I never really fuss. Just show out when you show